There.
Brain Candy Podcast, episode 863 today.
You sounded like you were questioning that.
I was struck by it.
Why?
It's exciting. Every episode we do is such a gift.
Oh, well, I love that.
Welcome to the show.
It
We are
is.
still in Pittsburgh.
I love it. We are about to depart.
Yep. The
For
old Big Apple.
The big, I was going to say the big old apple, and you switched those, and
Why
I don't know.
Big Old Apple?
But I don't, in my mind, I don't know. The old big apple, the big old apple.
It's so big.
I don't know.
And the city that never sleeps.
Correct. I titled our shared album, Susie and Sarah Take Manhattan, like
Muppets, of course.
Okay, good. I was just making sure you were picking up what I was putting down.
Oh, yeah. Stetler and Waldorf will be hitting the big city.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. I can't wait. We're going to see interesting characters along our way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, guaranteed hilarity.
Yep.
We are going to be looking for a spot for a very special Brain Candy event.
Yep.
So stay tuned for that.
I'm super excited. I kind of gave our listeners, not listeners, but the Candy Club members,
a sneak preview.
Yeah, appetizer.
Yes.
And they kept asking, will it be convenient for where I live? And I said, it will be convenient for everyone.
Everyone at the same time.
Or at some point at other times.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's exciting. We're having fun. We're on the move.
Here's what I've learned about us. I already knew this, but here's what I was reminded on this trip so far. You and I are elderly ladies in young ladies' bodies.
We're mature.
Yeah. The kind of things that you and I like to do and that we get a kick out of. Mm-hmm. We are not just often, but always the youngest people there by a significant.
It's by design.
Yeah, you know what? I'm down with this.
I love
I'm picking up. I'm getting it. I'm like picking up your
all the concerts
tricks.
I go to are like that. Everything that I'm into really is like vintage or old school. Or
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Someday our passions will align with our actual age
think?
and
with our age.
Right.
That's true.
You know, and it won't feel like we're.
It's just it feels real nice to be in a crowd and be a 45-year-old gal.
Yeah.
And be the belle of the ball.
Yep, it is real nice.
Because if everyone's 80,
right,
you look pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Right?
It is like the smartest move. You want to feel hot? Go to the Elks Lodge and watch Banjo Night.
I really make a hit there, I will say.
I mean.
I know. Those guys, they're trying to get me to join that Elks Lodge.
I don't know what you're waiting for. What is the thing? Well, I don't even know what the heck an Elks Lodge is. And...
It's just a local group, and they have these principles and ideals that they are supposedly committed to, and they raise money for charity. Yeah, it's a cool idea.
Okay, so it's not like that. I had it lumped into veterans.
The Masons. Oh, well, there's a lot of overlap.
Right. Maybe the same location.
It might even be like that was the origin or something.
Okay.
You know, like
something like that. Mm-hmm. It's like Lions Club, Rotary Club, and Elks Lodge in my mind. Are they the same group?
Right. Question mark.
Right.
Right. Why is it called Rotary anyway?
I have no clue. I don't even know what that means.
I don't either. But I know they exist and that it's some sort of group.
Yeah.
We got to join one. That's what I know. So maybe the Elks Lodge's wait is over.
Yeah.
And I can finally...
Susie says they have to sponsor you, and she goes in there, and they're just handing her, here you go, I'll sponsor you, I'll sponsor you, bring a friend.
Like an existing member of the Elks Lodge has to hand you like this brochure, and it's signed with their name and their whatever number, and then that's their way of making sure that whoever gets in is like vetted.
Yeah.
And that you pass. Yeah, and they'll sponsor
you. It's like
you.
a country club.
I guess so, but better.
Different. Yeah.
And way cheaper food and beer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, talk about a bargain.
It's
like $2 drinks.
It's insane. Mm-hmm. And live entertainment. I would imagine these kind of places hold bingo night.
Probably.
Yeah. So I'm in. Mm-hmm. I'm into that community.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you got to experience it.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. We're having so much fun. I was just laughing with Suze before we pressed record that I'm a good friend of Susie's son, Lincoln. We go way back.
Yeah.
And, being the curious kid he is, he's like, oh, what are you going to talk about on the podcast? And I ran my ideas by him. Didn't crush it.
Knock his socks
Didn't
off?
knock his socks off. He was not too impressed.
Yeah. Did he act like it was like old news, what you were going to share?
Maybe like,
I've heard better.
yeah.
Wow.
He was really dead set on me talking about how a fish would probably, like whether a fish drowns in space or suffocates in space.
I know. It's an age-old question.
It really is a fun thing to kind of ponder. And I'm like, man, you are your mother's child.
Well, and the fact that he's like roasting you.
Totally roasting me.
Like he asked what you're doing,
Right.
and he's like, "Oh,
not that. You better. He's like, keep mine for
think about it."
backups.
Yeah.
Backup stories. So I don't have those. But
Was
maybe
there any
you guys.
promising stories that seemed he liked the best?
I feel like his eyes did perk up a little bit at the idea about.
Sorry,
I love it. Chaos.
chaos.
When I told him that bacteria is able to tell exactly. See,
Oh, God,
bacteria
I'm joking.
can tell when it's getting chilly outside. They basically bundle up for the winter.
No,
They are like,
They bulk up.
It's getting cold, and so when they sense that it gets cold, they grow this like extra, basically like a protective layer of their cell.
it's like same girl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what? I love that you're saying that, even though it's just, you're making a joke, but it actually is why this is remarkable, because that is a concept that we all understand with things on a larger scale, right? We all know that bears go into hibernation, the trees change. We know that the trees just stop. Yeah. They kind of hibernate in their own way. They stop producing things and everything slows
Go
down.
dormant.
But the idea that things also do that on a very, very small scale is really...
It's kind of like when we learn about like how mushrooms communicate.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love this.
Right?
Correct. It is totally that. And think about it, like if a bacteria cell, that is such a small organism. And we understand that other organisms, say like take monarch butterflies, for example, that monarch butterflies pass down their genetic knowledge to their offspring about migratory patterns. That's why they do all those little experiments at schools where they grow monarch butterflies everywhere, and then they can all go to the same place to I don't know, whatever the hell they're doing in those.
What are they doing?
I have no clue. Nobody knows what's going on inside of that cocoon. It's kind of like the eel thing. We know that they turn into a weird goo, but you can't put a camera in there, and maybe one day, but without disturbing it. We just know they turn into a goo and then boop, butterfly. But all this these crazy migratory patterns, we know that is genetic information that is passed down to its offspring. Bacteria is that what they do is the cell divides and they divide into clones of themselves. So that bacteria is also passing genetic information down to it, they're passing down winter wisdom down to whatever cell they turn into. As they divide.
Then for the summer, is it getting their beach body or what?
Oh, that's really funny.
Well, it must be.
You know what? It must be.
There must be
because
shedding.
there must be an opposite.
Or maybe that's
reaction.
Is that when they break apart and they cut down by just splintering?
Oh, those are good questions. It didn't even say.
Maybe it's implied.
Yeah, that
Sounds
these
like
cells, they can just sense when winter is coming up, and because of changes in their environment, they start to create a different layer to the cell, a cell membrane that makes it a little more protected. They put on their little winter coats.
Well, you know how I protect my hair, and that is with Lolavi.
Oh, also an important thing to do seasonally.
Yeah, big time. My gosh, my hair gets so dry in the winter.
Absolutely. And we need to be doing things to balance out that protein and moisture.
Yeah, they have so many products now, and they keep adding to the line. But, I mean, just the shampoo and conditioner I love. The leave-in is great.
Detangler is my favorite.
Flossing detangler, the wet brush. Those are my staples. I didn't try the stick, the
Oh, the wax.
styling
That's
stuff.
great. If you're somebody who loves that slicked back pony look,
Yeah.
that is how to achieve that trick. Mm-hmm. You take the little, wand.
Yeah.
Like, whatever you call it, roller thing.
Stick.
Bar, yeah. And just boop, 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 right along that.
This stuff is
Get around all
great
the flyaways.
and so hydrating. This holiday season, unlock Jennifer Aniston approved hair at lolav.com. As our loyal listeners, you get an exclusive 15% off your entire order when you use code BRAIN15 at checkout. That's 15% off your order at LOLAVIE.com with promo code BRAIN15. Please note you can only use one promo code per order and discounts can't be combined. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Your hair will thank you.
Yeah, so they call it, what they discovered was, I'm burying, like, not the lead, obviously, of the story, but an important part that first made me want to write this thing down. So this is like a tale as old as time, where it is a female research assistant who makes the discovery, and it is a male professor, but in a little departure from the usual tale, he gave her a bunch of credit for it. And
good.
Like,
I mean, that's
her name was, I was so happy. And the woman who discovered this bacteria, because I'll give her credit.
Sarah likes saying her name.
Yeah, say her name, right? Her name's Louisa Jabour, and shout out to Louisa.
Shout out to Louisa.
She discovered something called
bacteria.
Looked at the elements of or behavior of cyanobacteria. It's a tiny single-celled organism, and they have a way of sensing seasonal changes and preparing for winter. And they have a set of what they called seasonal genes to adjust the cell membrane and help them survive through tougher conditions, kind of like they're putting on their own little winter coat at a cellular level.
Well, that's real cute, Louisa.
Isn't it? Mm-hmm. And it just, I feel like in the same way we're seeing differences in investments and like when women enter a field of, not like women have not been in science before, but when there's like more representation, it gives like another way to look at something or another way to approach a problem. Sometimes just like a different.
Yeah. Different voices, different thoughts, different ideas.
It is so important.
Every industry. I keep seeing that in documentaries and stuff, and how like as soon as you get more people of color, women, whatever, there's just a different point of view.
Yes, because they like approach we have to approach, or anybody who's different than like the traditional like straight white male that we've based basically all these studies around before. Has had to learn a different way to do things, has had to make adjustments and make it fit their experience. And so now you're taking that different way of experiencing this world and applying that like alternative view to a problem. That's why I feel like when all those contests, when they have kids enter in science fairs, or they put like a
and then they cure cancer. Yes!
I know, because it's like, we were too close. We need to like zoom out and not be, the bullshit. And I just think it's so fascinating.
That is cool.
So interesting, and that we are going to see more of it. I was telling you, Suze, that I saw something the other day that said we know more about, or we know the same amount of information about the female reproductive system than the Elizabethans knew about the brain.
Not great.
No, not so good. Really terrifying. Like when you think about what they were doing like doing lobotomies and sticking the needles up, like the big things.
We still don't really know a lot about the brain.
Right.
I was reading an article about the trouble with research for autism and how like they, just like most medical stuff, they use mice, and they breed the mice to have different ailments, and then they test, right?
Yeah.
And then we can apply it to humans. But there is no way to breed autism in mice because it is not a thing that exists. So they have to breed for like symptoms, like excessive, like repeated compulsive movements or whatever. And so it's not really autism. It's just like one thing at a time. And so you just try to get like, okay, this is a compulsive behavior, or stimming, where they like repeat movements and stuff. And so then you really don't get effective.
Absolutely not.
And part of the reason that they can't figure out how to treat autism is because we know so little about the darn brain.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just frustrating.
That is really interesting to think about.
Yeah.
That we're taking something that maybe only applies to a complex system and only exists in a complex system. You know, if you think about a song, or like when you have an option of a whole bunch of different notes versus if you just had one of those little pianos with like bing, bing, bing.
6
like,
keys, yeah.
You know, that there would be different music that you would be able to make and you couldn't duplicate.
Yeah, and they're like dumping all this money into something that it's really not getting where we want to go.
That seems like a waste of time to me.
Kind of sometimes feels like that with Alzheimer's too. And the things that we end up figuring out is almost like an accident.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, wow, that medicine did something that we didn't intend that can help dementia people or whatever.
And I feel like what we need to do more is the other side of it, looking at the brains after people die and studying what's going on and how are those ones different with actual human brains, not, you know, the old
mouseroo.
Okay, what else do I want to talk to you about? Okay, this is a really interesting topic. So maybe not according to your child.
Not what I heard.
But, you know, I did try to lighten this one and make it a little more age appropriate.
Yeah.
But
maybe he didn't appreciate that.
Maybe he didn't. I didn't want to bring up school shootings, but
Sarah, that's so funny. Sarah's like, do you have a bulletproof backpack?
Well, so the Parkland school shooting, there was the result of this terrible tragedy it is the first of it's like a very unique situation, and we're doing something, I'm not doing anything. The lawyers and the legal teams have done something in this Parkland shooting case that I feel is unprecedented. I haven't heard of this before and is so important.
Okay.
And the Parkland school shooting survivor who is the most injured, he was the most affected by what happened, now owns the name rights of the gunman. The person who was shot is named Anthony Borges, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He is the most injured survivor, and he reached a settlement with the gunman this summer. The shooter must now have the victim's approval before he can agree to any interviews, any media appearances. He now owns the rights to the shooter's name, and the shooter must also donate his brain for scientific study after he dies. And he is the one who has the sole decision if the name of the shooter, which I won't even say, and I think it was great that the article didn't mention it, that he is the one who gets to say if the name can be used in books, in TV, in movies. And why this is so important is we are seeing what happens when you don't do that. And the article I was reading gave the example of the Dahmer story, and Ryan Murphy is very guilty of this, that he is, like, we'll take the Dahmer story, for example, starring Evan Peters, like that in a way romanticized and glorified Jeffrey Dahmer, so much so that viewers were creating those like sexy edits of of Evan Peters playing that. Could you imagine if you're the victim, the family of the victims, and they did not make a penny off that? That nobody there, because of, we have the Son of Sam law, and the Son of Sam law says that the perpetrator is not able to profit off of their own crimes. But I want to read to you what Anthony's lawyer said about this and why it's so important, because I think this really matters. He said, "We wanted complete accountability. People sit in prisons and they don't have things to do. They get bored. We wanted to shut him down completely. His story will be told by the victims, not by him. Anthony does not want to walk into his house one day and see a Netflix special that's the gunman was talking about his own thoughts on what he did. This is a way that we could shut that down. Anthony ultimately has control.
Interesting.
Really interesting, right? What do you think about this?
I think it's good. I think that's good. And so before with the Son of Sam law,
Yes.
no one was profiting, right? It was just like,
Yeah, whoever made the documentary.
yeah, but like
Right.
they didn't have to pay anyone out, like the
No, not at all.
licensing fees and stuff.
Right.
And so now somebody does get to profit
Yes.
that deserves it. I'll tell you something that we can all profit from and that is wonderful for everyone, and that is Rocket Money, our favorite personal finance app. Sarah and I were talking about it when we were getting pedicures.
Yes.
It was so funny.
Oh my God.
'Cause
Yeah. Because
Sarah-
it was the first of the year or the month.
Yeah.
I was so
Sarah was
excited.
like, oh my gosh, I get to open Rocket Money and like do all my budgets and my money and whatever. And she was like, I can't wait. Like she was like chomping at the bit.
I get so excited.
To use her Rocket Money app. If you don't use it, it's a personal finance app, and it's really been helpful for me just keeping track of my spending.
Yeah.
Things that like subscriptions I have, it'll say to you, hey, do you really want all these or do you want to cancel any of them? They'll cancel them for you. If a bill seems too high, they say, hey, we can maybe get you down, and they like negotiate on your behalf.
It's fantastic.
I've saved a ton of money.
I am one of those people, maybe you guys listening are like me, where anytime you have like a purchase that you make for yourself, you need to justify it in your head, and you need to have like saved up enough money for it. So I am the biggest fan of their little monthly budget
Yeah.
thing that tells you, you set like, this is how much I want to earn, this is how
Yeah.
much I want to save, this is how much my bills are. And then it tells you how much you have to spend per day. And if you save more, then that number goes up. And then
Yeah.
at the end of the month, I get to say,
Get a little bonus.
woo,
Yeah.
time to get a new pair of snowboarding pants.
And they also let you know, like, if your subscription price goes up,
Yes.
because you can forget that too. But anyway, it's great. I love it. I've saved a ton of dough. They have over 5 million users and has saved a total of 500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's features. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/braincandy. That's rocketmoney.com/braincandy, rocketmoney.com/braincandy. It's free. Just go there.
Yes.
You will love it.
Yes.
Just on the subject, I read an article recently about that shooter very recently from, I think, Georgia. And he was a boy and he was living with his dad. I don't remember his name or like the school, but he went in and killed people at his school. But he didn't, usually they die, right? They usually get shot.
Right.
But he didn't. He got arrested. Anyway, I read sort of this long article about what went wrong, what his story is. I know that some people do not like any kind of humanizing of these killers, and I get it, but they are human. And his circumstances are gut-wrenching. Yeah. And this was a boy who was completely like screwed by his mom's drug addiction and then his dad's, apathy and incompetence and just sort of like turning a blind eye. I mean, his dad is being tried as well for buying him that gun. Do you remember? And so this is a boy.
Right.
And my heart breaks for him too.
Yeah.
Because that is an act of a desperate child. And it's horrific.
Yeah.
And the victims are so important. But like, what a terrible story. Like, we have to learn from it.
Absolutely. And I think that this young man who now has the rights to that name will do that in the right way, will tell that story or allow
Like,
that
we can't
story.
ignore it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's what they
But we
want to
mustn't
do.
glorify either, like what you're saying, Ryan Murphy.
Yeah. I believe that this was a New York Times article.
Okay. That's cool.
I think so.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, because it feels like such a gray area that I think I was saying last episode how interested that media, like law and ethics in media, is so important. And
Well,
a lot of things just get forgotten about to tell a story.
I remember when I watched the documentary about the Columbine guys and how the mom I think it was Dylan Klebold's mom wrote a book, and
Yes.
the profits she donated to like suicide prevention and stuff, but she didn't have to.
Right.
And if this had been in place, maybe it would have gone to the victims.
It would have.
You know what I mean?
It 100% would have.
Or at least some of them or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's good.
Thanks.
And I'm glad that she chose to donate it.
Right.
But what if they didn't? That would have been horrible. Right.
And I see it as not being like, because in a way, the families of there are a lot of victims, you know, but I know the person who's not a victim is a producer of a Netflix show.
Right.
And who's like making all the money off that. And that is the one I have an issue with. And just think it's something to think about. And I think it's going to change the way that we handle these cases moving forward. And I wonder if it will change crime and the decision to do that. If you start taking away the
glory.
The glory. Yeah, there are a lot of stories about, I mean, this serial, Ted Bundy, the Menendez brothers, is that it's just, the people speaking out.
Who would get that
said,
money?
What?
Who would get that money?
Oh. That's a good question.
The Menendez brothers.
Right.
Matricide and patricide really pays off.
This becomes, that's why we need more legal, like the media law and ethics to this. And then, so I was looking up, then, I was like asking questions to my ChatGPT of like, well, what about this? Well, what about this? And I asked, is there like such a thing as like media ethics? I didn't even know.
A lot of it is just sort of like,
a subdivision of some other study and not really a main focus. And that is kind of insane to me. They're like, well, it's part of journalism. Is it though? Well,
that's why talking about Chim Crazy, that's why that question is so important to me about like, is it ethical for a documentarian to get consent from a participant on false pretenses?
Right.
Like when she thought, Chim Crazy lady, Tanya, thought she was making a different film.
Right.
When she said, yes, you have the right to my face and my likeness, all that stuff. And then she had been lied to.
Unless they do what reality shows do, where they put inside that contract.
Well, maybe in the contract, but she was lied to.
Yes. It was under false pretenses.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the definition of that.
And that is not my favorite because, like, okay, you got the story.
Right.
And it sure was fascinating. But I like to think documentaries are like a little more
on the up and up.
The up and up, man. Let's make a documentary about documentaries.
Yeah, and call it the up and up.
See, this is the creative spirit that happens.
We get together
we're in the same
and
room.
we're like, okay, then we're going to do this, and next thing you know, we take over the world. So,
okay,
yeah, that's just an interesting little media ethics. I just think because I remember when I was doing my research for a project for grad school on the effects of reality television on the participants, there was only one study that I found.
That is strange. I don't know about that. But yeah,
that was specific to participants that was studied, and it was a media ethics, like, is this ethical to do? And it was like a law school, like somebody from some law school in Sweden that had studied it. But even in their references, I mean, it was a research methods class. My job was to like dig deep to find the answers that I need. And it was like, there's one. And then everything else is maybe some newspaper articles here and there, but it hasn't been studied in that way of like the actual participants. And, now I think this was also a few years, like they have these studies now. Yeah. And I'm glad and happy to see things have changed, but
I want to see a study on caraway bakeware and a cookware.
I already know what the results will say.
Yeah.
100% satisfaction guaranteed.
Is it a biased study? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it correct? Also yes. Okay.
Yeah.
This stuff is the best. This stuff is non-stick, non-toxic, and comes in a gazillion colors. All great. But the best part is the performance.
Oh, yeah.
Not like the eggs slide right out of your pan.
Yep.
They have the stainless steel now. They have the non-stick, which was the first one I had. And then the saucepans and I have all the baking sheets and
it is really cute in your kitchen with all of it matchy-matchy.
It's so cute. And the tea kettle.
I love
with
it.
The oven. Come on.
I'm obsessed. So
we are obsessed. You guys will love it too. It'd make a great holiday gift.
Oh, yeah.
Too.
Tea kettle that matches your friend's kitchen.
Get the heck out of here.
Man.
Okay. The holidays are closer than ever, so get their gift or yours. Beep, beep. Visit in time. Visit carawayhome.com/brain candy to take advantage of this limited time offer for up to 20% off your next purchase. Again, that's carawayhome.com/brain candy to get new kitchenware before the holidays. Caraway, non-toxic cookware made modern.
Yes. Okay. What else? This I heard on NPR. It is some information about a study that is being conducted along with the Public Library of Science and Columbia University and NPR, and it's called the Body Electric Study. And this has been going on for I don't know when they started, for a little while now, but they have looked at the behaviors and physical activity of 23,000 people, and they were interested to know, to develop a holistic understanding of movement's role in health and longevity.
Yeah, I saw this.
Yeah. And, because that whole world of fitness and it gets extreme, where they're like, you got to run these marathons, you got to do a freaking ice bath, you got to be like, this is insane.
Yeah.
So they're like, what is it really? Yeah, pump the brakes. Let's look at what this...
Speaking of pump, that's why I love the Pump Club, the newsletter from Arnold Schwarzenegger, because very similar to what you're saying.
Yeah.
It really does just gives you the brass tacks. Like, sure, you can run a marathon if you want,
right.
But like, what do I have to do to increase longevity or quality of life or prevention of disease, et cetera?
Yes.
So it's like, just do this. This is better than nothing. And that's pretty much what a lot of people want to know.
Correct.
What's better than nothing?
Yes. The NPR, the woman who was, she also put herself, the journalist who was putting herself through the study as well and testing it out and then had her vitals checked to see the effects of it. She said, her quote was, how much do I have to move so sitting on my butt all day doesn't eventually lead to killing me?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's what I want to know.
Well, how do I do the least?
Yes, exactly. So they looked at, for this woman specifically, they looked at the study. The study was just people wearing body trackers and monitors, so it was able to get their information no matter what they were doing, and then extrapolated from that or got their results from that. But this woman, they tested her. One day she sat at her desk for 8 hours a day, didn't get up, didn't do anything, maybe go to the bathroom once or something like that, but not anything intentional. And then another day, they compared that to another day where she was doing gentle movement for 5 minutes every half hour.
Right.
Every half hour?
That's right.
Every half hour.
Half hour.
Yes. Okay. And it's remarkable.
Yeah.
Her blood sugar was half. Mm-hmm. Her blood pressure had gone down 5 points.
That's awesome.
From nothing. And her energy levels were up.
Yeah.
Had better well-being. And so they were able to have an answer to how much movement you have to do. And fatigue reduction was how they kind of summarized this. Or to put it simply, it was fatigue reduction. How much energy do you have? What do they see? They said 30 minutes, every 30 minutes, moving 5 minutes every 30 minutes, created 30% reduction in fatigue levels. Moving once every hour for 5 minutes created a 25% reduction. And moving once every 2 hours created a 20% reduction. So you can keep going with that. And then you can see.
I'm glad they gave those tiers, though, because my gripe about it was They were framing it as if getting up and doing 5 minutes of gentle movement every half hour wouldn't be a pain in the ass.
Right.
It would.
Right.
30 minutes is not a long time.
It's actually impossible if you're a therapist who holds 50-minute sessions.
Yeah. And it's sort of like, talk about a disruptive thing to have to do.
Yeah.
So like, I get why they did it, because the 5 minutes is the emphasis. 5 minutes.
Right.
Every half fucking hour.
That's really right.
I mean, I got shit to do over here, lady.
Right. And the argument, of course, is always businesses saying this is going to take away from productivity. And then they find out it leads to increased productivity because of all those benefits for mental health things. Yeah. So the companies were like, well, we don't want people taking
I think this hour one is the ticket. 25%, absolutely. That sounds nice.
Yeah. 25. And what a 5% energy level difference really between 25 and 30?
Sure.
I don't know if I'd even be able to measure that.
Yeah. NPR.
Right. And that's what I have to do. It's like, right. I've got 50-minute sessions. Could you imagine in the middle of my session, me to be like, can we pause so I can go take a little 5-minute lap?
A lap.
That would be absolutely insane. I would lose my job so fast. I'm pretty sure that's like illegal or something like that.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But, yeah. And the other thing, I didn't note this from the article, but did it say anything from what you remember about how, like, is it just during the work hours? Or is it, like, if I get home and I sit down on my couch and watch Netflix for 5 hours?
It didn't say.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, what if you flip that? What if you were, instead I'm going to sit on my butt for 5 hours and do work, and then I'm going to do 5 minutes every half hour. I think it's what Arnold says, when I'm at home.
Like, everything that you add is going to benefit you.
Right.
So whatever you are willing to do it.
Right. And something is better than nothing.
And like, I want to know the study for like 1 minute.
Right.
What is that?
Did
like
that work?
5%? I mean, that's
whatever. I'll take anything.
I could do some squats.
Yeah. And sometimes I think, am I doing that 5-minute walk more than I think I am? Like, just because I'm absent-minded? Like, I'm you got your little cottage down there that I keep forgetting things in, and I've had to go there 4 times today, which I think is a 5-minute walk there and back. In if I'm going slow and distracted, which I usually am.
Maybe I should walk to the cottage.
So
more.
maybe I'm getting it, but I don't realize it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know, but my shoulders do feel it after sitting for 8 hours, and I'm like,
oh, really?
Yeah, because I have terrible posture. That might be my next year goal, but I don't know. Then I'm going to end up fucking breaking my back if I try to make that a resolution.
I get a sitter's high, so like I nothing about it bothers me.
Your back never starts to hurt after you sit for a while?
It feels great.
Oh, I don't know about
probably.
that life. I get like pain in my shoulders and
it's stiff.
It's just
relax, baby.
I know. What's wrong with me? I tried to get. It sounds silly, but like I tried to get a couch that wasn't too comfortable.
Oh God.
You know
that it's not hard to do because I swear most of them suck.
They are terrible. It was between like one or the other.
Yeah.
And it was like the comfiest one I ever sat in, where I'll never leave and probably sleep here, or this one. And I chose this one.
Wow. Do you have regrets?
100% I do.
Yeah, you need to be comfy.
Think about it daily.
You try to like be disciplined and that is a mistake.
And then I hear all the time that sitting down is the enemy of people with ADHD because it's like the ultimate distractor and will throw you off course. Like if you just don't sit down, you're good. Sort of. Better.
It's like objects in motion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you can remember. But as soon as I sit down, I'm like, what the fuck was I supposed to do with the rest of my life? I have no idea right now.
Oh, you're gone.
Gone. I just get
maybe you did the right thing then.
Yeah.
You don't like it.
I don't like it. It's terrible. So I lay down. I'm like, ugh, okay, now. See, this is why when they joke that I just wanted money from the challenge to buy myself a couch, it's still an ongoing issue.
You're like, yeah, they were right.
Yeah.
I know.
Anyways. Okay. What else do I have to... This was just something that I heard that maybe you guys are going to find interesting, but I thought it was a fun fact.
She's like all insecure now because Lincoln
I totally am. That's exactly what's happening. Whatevs. I just thought this was fun because we're going to New York soon.
Yeah.
Have you ever wondered why they put so much cream cheese on bagels over there?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have the answer.
Okay.
I have the answer from an Instagram account named Bagel Ambassador. He is a...
You follow this account?
No, it just came up because
I'm
the
just
internet knows what I like.
Yeah, right.
It was in my For You page or like Explore page.
Okay.
And I was like, yes, please. Thank you, algorithm. So it was talking about the history of lox and the history of
That's fun.
what we know today as smoked salmon is different from lox, Nova lox, that were what they were eaten in New York, specifically Jewish communities they were talking about in this article. And that the way that you had to preserve the fish or to create those was really, really salty. So much so that in order to balance out the salt, they needed a massive amount of cream cheese. And the cream cheese cut the salt. And so that amount of cream cheese is to balance out the saltiness of these original lox. And that became such a thing of this expectation of how much cream cheese should be.
So do you think they like it like that? And by they, I guess I mean Jews, but
we would like it like that more if there was still that ratio of salty to
right, that's
creamy.
what I mean. Why are we still doing that?
But they changed the kind of, we're not eating, the lox are different. Sometimes you can find those ones that are the smoked Nova lox, and they're different though. They're not how we...
It's not as if that's the only kind of bagel. Like if I just get plain cream cheese on a plain bagel, I'm still getting like so much cream cheese.
It is like a thing. It's like...
It's everywhere.
I know. And can you believe this one in the same account I also ordered? Do you guess what the number one most consumed...
Oh, I love this.
Give me the top three.
Wait, bagels?
Yes.
Oh, I love
Give me
this.
the top three bagel flavors consumed nationwide.
Okay, are they shocking?
Yes. I'm actually... Do you hear my voice?
She is worked up. Okay. Top three bagel flavors.
One, I'll allow him.
It has got to be everything.
Well, that's three.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right.
Oh, I got it correct. It's in the top three.
Correct.
Okay.
Obviously, because that's the best one.
Well, it's the best one. But I hesitated to say it because isn't it kind of like on the newer side? Like this didn't exist in the 80s. There was no...
Did it?
No.
There was an onion bagel.
There was an onion.
And a poppy seed.
And a poppy seed. Who's
which
ordering
is
that?
absolutely insane.
Insane.
I don't know. It was like sponsored by the
Dentist?
Yes. The big floss.
Fake floss.
That's it.
Yeah, I've had it with the poppy seed. Okay.
Who is actually ordering? I want to know.
Yeah.
I'm mad about other things now.
Sociopaths.
Yes.
Somebody sick is ordering those. It's for like the opium too. Like you can get
It's for the opium. What do you think they're going to do? Trying to get high on bagels?
They must be, because there's no other reason to order it.
And they're just like, oh, is this kind of like the Mormon ladies who like are getting the
laughing gas?
Yeah, laughing gas, and they get Botox. It's unnecessary. They're like, oh, I'm kind of getting like high on the poppy, but you're not. As somebody who gets high regularly, you do not feel anything from those poppy seeds.
Okay, next one.
Yes. Oh, I'm so mad.
Is there a sweet?
Yes.
Okay, I guess I would have guessed cinnamon.
Number two.
Okay.
Yeah. Take a deep breath. Oh, I'm telling you. Everybody's
have got to say it's plain.
No.
What is it?
Are you ready?
No.
Blueberry. Yep. You heard it here, folks. Outright. Look at her. She can't even take it. Your face is melting.
Have you ever ordered that?
Not one time in my life.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you think they're including not just bagel shops, but like at the grocery store? Because those are very popular for like breakfast weirdos, like that have kids. And
they're talking bagel shops. Okay.
Who in the hell is ordering a blueberry bagel?
Maybe children, and maybe... Do you remember when Miranda from Sex and the City, I can't remember, Cynthia Nixon, was running for mayor, and she went to a bagel shop and she ordered lox on a blueberry bagel? And
that
everybody was like, you obviously aren't a New Yorker and you obviously don't know anything about it. And everybody, like, you are sick. Yes. Yeah.
I cannot believe that the blueberry, everything, and cinnamon are all higher ranked than even just plain.
Yes.
What was plain? Do you know?
I don't know, but we can look it up.
I'll let it go. I just cannot.
I'm like, I will not let it go.
Because you would think, like, a lot of people get the variety pack, like the place just picks, and they will always do a plain.
Right. No, people aren't ordering that.
You know what else is good? That one, it's like a cheese Asiago.
Oh, love. And when they throw the jalapenos in
Forget it.
Oh.
But is there anything worse than when you get a cinnamon and it's been sat next to the onion? And then you get a bite of onion in your cinnamon?
I have never experienced that because I've never ordered a cinnamon bagel. I've never ordered a sweet bagel.
Because you're like against them.
Oh, totally against them. It doesn't feel like
nice.
That's not...
Because it tastes like coffee cake.
Is it? Does it?
You know, like the flavor profile.
But then I would just have coffee cake.
They don't have them there.
Oh, I see. Oh, so this is like the sweet people who are at the bagel shop.
Yeah, like if you want a little something sweet.
Oh, okay.
But blueberry, get the fuck
out. I know. I'm so glad I brought this up. This was in my like little throwaway.
Yeah, because what was the point of the whole thing in the first place?
Just lock some cheese.
Oh,
how
the
much cream
lox
cheese
thing.
they put on a bagel.
I
had
never
no idea
had
that this was going to be the number one story from this episode.
I do
the one
love
that all
Jewish
I wrote
content.
was bagel ambassador.
So yeah, I don't mean to derail. I just this is riveting.
Yeah.
What else is riveting is how well I can see with my pair eyewear.
I keep telling
Sarah
myself
needs to get an appointment.
I have to go get an appointment because my eyes are getting worse and worse and worse, and you do cross over.
Yeah,
like
she's an old lady. But here's the good news: once you get your prescription, you can just upload it to Pair.
Yes.
And you can do the digital try-on from your phone or your computer.
Because I'm not paying $1 bajillion for the glasses that they have at the old optometry shop.
No, and they're
I'm
hideous.
Sorry.
It's always like, do you guys think they look good on me?
No.
They're humongous. And then they're great because they also have the top frame. So if you get like a neutral color, brown or black or whatever, you get these metal or magnetic toppers that you can get in all kinds of whimsical or like holiday or cartoon characters, real cute stuff. So you can change it up. Or you could get like the sunglasses to be toppers. So there's still prescription, but you've got protection from the sun. It's awesome. Very affordable. Fall into a new routine with infinite possibilities with Pair Eyewear. Go to paireyewear.com and use code BCP for 15% off your first pair. Support the show by mentioning the Brain Candy Podcast sent you in your post-checkout survey. That's Pair, P-A-I-R, eyewear.com, code BCP.
My grandma was the kind of lady who, she was a teacher and worked in education, so it makes sense. I feel like teachers are like this, where they have, like my grandma had novelty jewelry for every season, which then I got. I have like a really cool like necklace with a bunch of parrots on it that is going to be cool.
Yes,
and,
like Iris Apfel.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like with a bunch of them, it's going to look so awesome. But she always had like novelty stuff that went with every season. And I aim to be that kind of lady.
Yeah.
With like, look at your cool glasses frames that are for each season. And you're just like, I'm going to be that person.
I know. Because once you hit a certain age, listen, what we want is distraction. Right? That's why we get the big statement eyewear. We get the like big statement necklace, brooches, scarves.
Yeah.
Just like, look away.
I love it.
Yeah. And then you're stylish and cool for Evs.
Yeah. Love that. Okay. What else do we want to talk about? No duds. No duds. Well, okay.
I do think it was funny. One of my favorite parts of while you were here was when we were at my mom's house for Halloween, which Sarah got the tour of 108. That's what I call it because that was the house number. And we were sitting out on the porch with my sister, and I was joking about how much I love hot dogs and wieners, and like I find it to be like my identity. Because the question was, if you had to pick an emoji that like represents who you are, what would it be? And for me, it'd be the wiener.
That was such a good question.
Did you answer it?
I think I said the snowboarder. Did I feel like I said that? But I don't know. Did I?
I don't remember that, but it is
in my head. It's fun.
That's because the one you see is like
also
the essence
it's
of
funny
you.
Because it's not that great of a snowboarder. They're just like okay, in the emoji.
How do you know?
Because you can like tell when some like
unsteady.
Like there's like a position, and the way that they have the app, the icon position is just like it's just regular.
Wow,
it's not doing anything cool, So I'm like, yeah, leisure athlete.
Okay, leisure athlete snowboarder.
But I've always thought maybe just like the green heart.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That is so random.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask on our Instagram for people to tell me what, and you don't have to say why.
Yeah.
Like, and it can, my second one would be the blue swirl if I chose. I love that one. And I feel like it's like, that's me.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Because it doesn't necessarily have to be the one you use a lot. It's just the one that feels more like you.
That's me.
Maybe
do you have any like that
I don't even know.
Like,
I have no idea. I haven't looked that hard.
The top hat. Like you can pick a random. Doesn't have to actually be literal.
I'm going to have to take a peek.
Yeah, and you can answer the poll when I put it on Instagram.
Yes.
But anyway, mine is the wiener.
Minus the wiener.
And I have like wiener stuff around my house.
Oh, you said mine is the wiener. I thought you said minus the wiener. And I was like, yeah, minus the wiener. And then I was like, wait, what did I just say?
One.
What did I do? Like, I was like, wait, why are we saying
What
that?
if I'm like, that was mine?
Yeah,
You
I thought,
can't have
I
it.
thought you said minus, and then I just repeated minus. And then I was like, wait, what had just happened here? I had like a little brain glitch. So that'll be fun for the listeners.
But what was great is I was saying, why I love wieners and everything. And then my sister and I got to talking about my family's deli and how they lost it in a bet and all that. And then how my grandpap had to then get a real job. And I had totally forgotten that he was a wiener salesman for Superior Meats. Like he was going to grocery stores and trying to get them to buy Superior wieners. And this is just like, what a delight to realize there actually is a reason that I love wieners so
it's in your
much.
blood.
It's in my blood.
Yes.
So it wasn't an accident.
You know that
Wieners.
genetic coding that the bacteria is passing down with each cell?
Ours is wiener sandwiches.
And your information is, you guys love wiener sandwiches.
I love a dirty hot dog.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. You have like actual stories to talk about.
Whatevs. Oh, this was a devastating article to read in the New York Times called "They're Giving Scammers All Their Money. The Kids Can't Stop Them."
The dementia people? Yeah.
It's not even dementia. It's
elderly.
just elderly.
In cognitive decline.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the story in particular was about this man named Chris Mancinelli, and his father was scammed by a woman who was pretending to be Alexa Bliss, who's a WWE professional wrestler. So this person,
How
scammer,
old is this person that got scammed?
70. He was 70, maybe 76 when it started, 78 at the time.
Go ahead.
He passed away when he was 79. In this time, whoever was pretending to be this character the article was talking about how they were using basically the formula for cults, for being like a cult leader and having people join your cult for scamming people, where they prey on the vulnerable.
Yeah.
And so this man had he lost his wife young. He became widowed young and had, I guess, some other things that made him just like a likely vulnerable.
Yeah. Maybe he was a real dum-dum though too.
There was an emotional hook. Yeah, he was vulnerable to stories that played on compassion and companionship.
Oh no.
And so that is what was used.
God, he was nice. It's the worst.
Right. He was nice.
Right.
So his son is recognizing that he is getting scammed.
Yeah.
He's got $900,000 in savings. And he slowly is giving it all to this scammer, which is like crazy that a professional wrestler would need your money. Man.
But like, was he a wrestling fan?
Yeah, I think so. I think he must have been.
That's part of the story that is not getting enough attention. Like,
actually,
I didn't know that 78-year-olds loved WWE or knew a woman named Bliss.
Yeah, romance scams.
Come on.
They called it.
Yeah, but this is a romance wrestling scam.
Right. It is. They must have found, oh my God. Yeah. Okay. This is it. So all the tragedies, the dad's name is Alfred Mancinelli. He lost his wife he and his wife lost their first child to leukemia when the child was 3. Then he lost his wife when their boys were 9 and 14 and had to raise them on his own. And later he was forced into early retirement from his pension at an electronic as an electronic technician for Con Ed, the New York power company. And they said he had a very open heart. And his scams date back to his involvement in them dates back to 2018. Right
I'd be
before
pissed if that were my dad.
It went to one or more of these Alexa Bliss impersonators.
What is it? This is the most random.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if it said anything about like how they met.
That is the weirdest part.
It doesn't say anything that I remember about, how they met. So then son, Chris, is like, this is a nightmare. My dad, he needs
so
money.
why won't he stop? Because how nice can you be if you don't even listen to your own son and you're listening to some weirdo on your chat?
It gets even worse. So he has the last $100,000 in his bank account, and his son Chris takes that money,
of course,
and puts it in a safer account. Dad sues him.
Okay,
chooses the side of, and now they're estranged.
Don't tell me how nice he is.
Now they're estranged because he sued his own son
I smell a rat.
for trying to stop.
Well, and he does have the right to spend his money however he wants.
Right.
But like the part I'm disputing is this characterization that he's nice.
He sued his son.
He's not nice.
He wanted his money back plus interest and legal fees.
Did he win?
He did.
Yeah, because he should be allowed. Yeah. But because you're telling me it's not a dementia situation.
A month after returning all the money, it was gone.
Good. Right. I hope he's homeless.
Right. And that at that point, that's kind of what they said, that he had to accept that there was nothing else you could do. And this is...
Yeah, now you're going to die alone.
Yeah.
Because you've estranged from your son because you're weird and wanted to feel useful to a stranger instead of to your family. Go fuck yourself, mister.
Yeah.
And your weird WWE chat.
Yeah,
totally. I hate his guts.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad at all.
How much would you guess is lost? How much do you think the FBI reports Americans lose to scams in 2023?
Billions.
Yep.
3?
$12.5 billion.
Yeah.
That makes me actually sick. Like I don't know what to do about that. Like it makes me feel like the feeling of like regret. It almost feels like that, and it's like not mine.
Yeah.
And I hate that. And I just am terrified, and it's just getting worse and worse because of AI being able to pretend to be people. And it could be that there was a video that was created, and she's sending personal messages. You can copy a voice. You can do a million things, and it is just...
This is just like a horny old guy that wanted to bang some WWE.
Yeah, I wish the what is it? New York Times just said that.
That he was a horny old guy that just wanted to bang a WWE hooker. Yeah, pretty much.
But they talked about how similar this is to the behavior that you see in cults with isolation from the family.
Yeah.
And that the pandemic isolation made it so much easier for these scammers to do their thing. And
I should be a scammer.
Do you really think you could morally, like...
No.
I know.
No, but like it sounds like such good work. Like they just can't miss. Any economy is like the good economy for scamming.
Right. We just got to do
I think I'd be good at it. I do think I would be an excellent scammer.
Yeah. What do you think makes you good at being a scammer?
Like the ability to compartmentalize.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
probably.
Bullshit.
Did you know, I'm thinking of Kelly Pope's book, Fool Me Once.
Yeah.
That it is very common that people with the best of intentions fall into that because it's like, okay, that's not like small little things. It's a great book. If you guys aren't in our book club and haven't read that, it is fascinating. And then there's a documentary called All the Queen's Horses, which did about the biggest scam and embezzlement in local politics ever. And it's so interesting.
There was an article, I think it was in maybe the New York Times, but it was about this guy that had a gambling addiction. And he had the keys to the coffers of like I think it was an NFL team or some professional sports team, and then started using their money, like $20 million. He bet. And just kept going deeper and deeper in. And like it went on until they caught him finally. But it was like only after all that money was out the door.
That's just straight up addiction. I mean, that's like...
And this is like a huge problem now that gambling has been so mainstream.
Yes.
And how like it's very hard. Like if you do not have... my whole family, we love gambling. We talk about all weekend for the games and stuff. We love it. But... I cannot relate to the people that like keep going. And because to me, it'd be much easier to become like an addict to alcohol because like there are no obstacles in the way. Whereas you have to get the money to keep betting. Like you have to, it takes a lot of like logistics. I'm going to get a loan. I'm going to take a remortgage.
I think that's part of the dopamine hit.
The strategizing.
Yes. In the same way that for a lot of, that you see, because that is the ritual. And you start to notice the dopamine hit, like your body prepping for whatever you're going to do before you do it in the anticipation of the dopamine hit. So in the same way that, you know, somebody's got like their little kit of something terrible, or like even just like the art and presentation of opening a bottle of wine and smelling it and all that. It's like, those rituals are part of, and I can see that with gambling.
Norm Macdonald had a gambling addiction and he went bankrupt like 3 times. And he famously was into any kind of betting, sports, poker, whatever. And in his book and in interviews and stuff, he would talk about it like, he said his addiction was hope.
Oh, yes, that feeling.
That every time you get that feeling of like, this is going to work out for me. This is going to
be the one.
And that I thought that was an interesting way to frame it.
Absolutely.
And to be aware of. Yeah. Like he was self-aware of his motivation. Yeah. But it's a bad thing to be addicted to. But he could just make it back. That's what he would do. He'd go broke and then he'd just start working again.
Yeah. Interesting.
Most of us don't have that.
That's a good way to put it, is hope. Norm Macdonald has a lot of good quotes.
Yeah, he is an interesting character because he is really smart. In fact, he hid the fact that he skipped like 3 grades or something. Jeez. Like he was prodigious. When he was a child, he was brilliant, but he like really wanted to come across as like the everyman kind of like bumbling fool.
Yeah. Well, that's why he could do that, because he's so smart.
Yeah. And he always had these astute observations about human behavior and his own behavior in the world. And that's what made him so funny. Yeah. But just like most of us, very complicated contradictions and like very mysterious and like hard to understand.
I can see that.
But funny as hell.
Yeah. I love it. Cool.
Yeah. All right.
What do you think?
We did it.
All right. I was going to say,
you did a great job.
Gosh, not according to your son, but.
Right. Lincoln gave it a 5 out of 10.
You know.
I say 10 out of 10, Sarah.
Thanks.
That's what I say.
Thanks, sis.
If you use our codes, we love you a little bit more.
Yes. A lot.
And yeah, a lot of bit more. And you can go to thebraincandypodcast.com to find them all. If you forget any, please tag us or send me a message if you use one, because I always like sing your praises.
Yes.
And our Patreon is our challenge content, patreon.com/braincandy. We have our candy club that is a hoot and holler.
Yes.
You can join on our website. We just love you. Thank you for all your support. And we get to hang out and be ourselves because of all of you.
Yes, it's the best. You know, just creating this community. I love it.
We love you. See you next time.